We are back on Get Up, and the NBA's restart is getting nearer, and Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Bucks had the best record in the league when they went on pause, and they're still the favorites to come out of the East when play resumes. But the break might have come at a fortuitous time for Milwaukee if you look at it from this perspective. Giannis hurt his knee against the Lakers on March 6th, just a few days before everything shut down, and the coach, Mike Budenholzer, thinks the time off might be a good thing for the Greek Freak, saying it's a huge advantage for us. The Giannis will be completely and totally healthy. Went on to say, who's to say how things would have gone if we kept on playing? I'm not sure it would be safe to say he would have missed a couple of weeks. Could it have been less? Maybe. Could it have been more? Perhaps. We can look back a bit and say, I wonder what would have happened there. And we've got Jay Williams with us ready to go here this morning. Jay Will had a little technical difficulty, but now we're up and running and ready. And let's talk about that for a moment here. I talked about it with Jackie about a half hour ago. Giannis having this time, when they depend so much on that one player, having this time off, do you think it increases the Bucks' advantage in the Eastern Conference?
I do for an injury like that is aggravating, Greeny, mostly for ankle injuries and things of that sort. And one of the things I would say about the Bucks are that as much as we talk about the Lakers, as much as we talk about the Clippers, that this is the most complete team in all of basketball. Now, does that say that they have the best chance to win it? No, not necessarily. They did have major home court advantage. That's going to be interesting to see how that plays out at a neutral site. But, they still have pieces like Chris Middleton. I know that people overlook Chris Middleton. They don't compare him to an Anthony Davis or to a Russell Westbrook. But this is a guy that was close to 50, 40, 90 and is just, sheer consistent, and their defensive principles are very well. So arrested Giannis in this particular situation for a guy that can attract so much attention, that utilizes that strength to get to the rim at will. The fact that he's healthy is a major advantage for a team, and rested for a guy that's going to win two-time MVP.
I agree. The way I look at it, this benefits the Bucks one way or the other. But
Yes.
if I were to tell you right now that they're not going to be the team that comes out of the Eastern Conference, if we look at last year's champion, the Raptors, we look at the Celtics, who are loaded and deep, and we look at the Sixers, who've been somewhat enigmatic, but they should have a healthy Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. Which of those three would you put your money on as the team that winds up coming out of the East if it isn't the Bucks?
Well, I'm always going against you here in this one. I'm still going to go with the Bucks, but that team that's going to go against the Bucks, I would have to go with your pick, the Boston Celtics. I mean, when you have Gordon Hayward, who's going to be healthy, when you have Jason Tatum, that was playing at an MVP caliber type level before the season ended. You add that to Jaylen Brown, who secured his bag. He's playing at a very high level defensively. He's a big time wing too that can lock down defenders. And then you combine that with Kemba Walker, four guys that can all average over 20 points. Marcus Smart defensively, he's there. The only void for the Boston Celtics is having that size in the middle. Enes Kanter, Robert Williams, if he's healthy, do they have that to combat that against Milwaukee? But if they get hot from the outside, Greeny, this is a team that can catch fire and a team that can find themselves in the World Championships of the NBA Finals.
No question about it. And then we look over at the other side, and we talk all the time about the LA teams. It's the Clippers and the Lakers. If there's another team that's in the mix in your mind in the West, who is it?
It's the Houston Rockets. Greeny. All right, we've had a pandemic. We've seen Russell Westbrook and these guys at protests, but if there are people that you are counting on to stay focused and to stay in shape, would that not be Russell Westbrook? 1,000%. When you're hearing reports that James Harden has lost 20 pounds, and I heard people try to use the opposite side of this equation, will that hurt him down the stretch because he won't have that same size to barrel through defenders? Actually, I make the opposite case that maybe down the stretch, over the last couple of years, you've seen James Harden get tired. You've seen him get fatigued. Him losing 20 pounds will help down the stretch for a guy that is one of the biggest innovators in basketball. You combine that with the liking and thinking of Daryl Morey and how he's composed this team. I like this strategy. I like the fact that we're going to be playing at neutral sites. And if you're already questioning the Lakers and what happens to Avery Bradley, do you get J.R. Smith? If you're questioning the health, ultimately, of the Clippers and, playing this condensed amount of games in that amount of time, could those injuries come back up and show their teeth? And even Denver, Jokic, and issues with COVID, I like this style, and I like the fast-paced play that the Houston Rockets can have. They're a team that can find themselves in a situation to win the whole damn thing.
Yeah, I actually like that pick, and I'm very interested to see how they come out playing. And then I want to ask you about the youngest superstar in the sport, and that, of course, is Zion Williamson, who's remained in New Orleans throughout this league hiatus. The #1 overall pick has been regularly reporting to the Pelicans practice facility because he's one of several players who were granted exceptions by the NBA to allow them to rehab injuries under the supervision of team trainers to avoid any setbacks. And there is word sort of coming out of New Orleans that he is in ridiculously good shape. It'll be interesting to see what he looks like when they get there. But what are your expectations for Zion when they resume?
I mean, I expect Zion to come out and to be Zion. And here's the interesting part as it relates to having this time off. You know, for Zion, he's had the full-time opportunity to take care of his body and to rehab and to train and to work on eating the right way. Everything that I've heard from New Orleans is that he has been doing that. So if you have Zion that's moving in that direction, along with Brandon Ingram, along with Drew Holiday, along with some of these pieces that you and I have been talking about all year long, them being healthy, this is a different New Orleans Pelicans team. This is the team that I would not want to see going into the playoffs, because if they hit their stride at the right time, this is what this playoffs is about now, Greeny. It's about, can you catch fire? The Pelicans have the firepower to catch fire. If they can catch it, they're going to be dangerous.
I totally agree. They are, not only are they the team of the future in the Western Conference, but they may very well be. If Zion is healthy and not playing on a minutes restriction, they could be the team nobody wants in this postseason.